All right, good afternoon, doctors. Welcome to this afternoon's program. The next big wave you don't want to miss in the spinal injury market. I'll introduce myself in a second, but we're going to get started right away. For those of you that are on time, I want to validate that. Thank you so much for taking the time on this Saturday to sit here and watch this program. I can assure you 100% that you're going to get something out of this program today that is going to pay off for you big time. The next big wave that you don't want to miss in the spinal injury market is really simple. It's stellar patient physical recovery results. Now, there's a little bit more to that, but that's something that everyone in this market is looking for. And as I present this presentation today, you're going to understand exactly why and why this is so important. Now, some of you are immediately going to say, hey, I get great injury results with injury patients. I get great injury results. Well, you suffer from oftentimes the same problem that I suffered with in private practice, and the same thing that a lot of practitioners suffer with in private practice. You may be able to do that. Now, I'm going to show you that there's 4 things that you have to do really, really well in this market. But right now, the biggest problem you have is not money in the market. The biggest problem you have, my friend Grant Cardone actually says better than I could, is obscurity is a bigger problem for you than money. And what I mean by obscurity is you're obscure in the market. How do you get past the noise that's in the market? Right now, there's so much market noise because this is such a lucrative market. You have attorneys that are marketing for patients. You have attorneys that are setting up relationship with doctors that are marketing for patients and passing patients back and forth. You have all kinds of information out there and all kinds of noise in the market because every player that's in the market is looking to get market share because it's such a lucrative market. And there's so much more to this market than just say personal injury or auto injury. But we'll focus a little bit on that today. This market is huge. And like I said, if you're a small provider, how do you become unobscure in the market? That's the biggest problem that you have. Now, what I'm going to tell you is there's only 4 things you need to do well in this market to thrive. And I've been doing injury work. I've been in the injury space for a really long time. And it's rare that you see a provider that's able to do these 4 things. And they're simple things. And that's what I'm going to go over. So who I am is my name is Jeffrey Allen Kronk. I'm a doctor of chiropractic and I also have a law degree. And the picture right here, that's me to the left. That's probably 1987 when I was at Palmer College. I was on a full rugby scholarship. This is me to the right studying somewhere. We're traveling to play rugby and I'm taking a break somewhere to study at the same time. In 1988, I graduated from chiropractic college and I went into private practice. I was an associate for a year and then I went into my own private practice. I starved for the first 2 years of my private practice. Did very, very poorly. Then I got the idea of what I was really supposed to be doing. And by 1995, I had a really thriving practice. I was doing incredibly well. I was making as much money as I ever dreamed that I would be able to make. But I knew that there was something missing. I knew that I was not that good of a chiropractor as far as being able to correct the spine. And that's when I met a guy named Harold McCoy. He was the first chiropractor ever to be working with the US Olympic team ever. Some of you are old enough, you may know him. He ran companies called Spinal Diagnostic, which did ligament testing, and he also did myologic diagnostics, which did muscle testing and different types of report writing for your outcome assessment procedures. And he taught me about ligament injuries. And he also introduced me to a person that had a significant influence in my professional career, and that was Burrow Pettibon. And so from about 1998, 1999, I started to actually really get into spinal correction work. I actually contributed to the publishment of Improvement of Cervical Lordosis and Reduction of Forward Head Posture. And I worked a lot in that area. And that's when I realized that spinal ligament injuries were the #1 problem with spinal conditions at that time. And I started to go until 2004 when I sold my practice. And then I started a national spinal ligament testing company. So from 2005 I've become one of the top ligament injury trainers in the country, specifically on ligament injury identification and diagnosis. I was a treating doctor for 17 years. I developed 2 national spinal ligament testing companies. Now, the reason why I'm actually saying this to you is I want you to know who's talking to you right now. I want you to know a little bit about my background. I could care less about my background. I just want to give you enough background so you go, okay, this person's been in the market a lot. Maybe there's something that he knows that I don't know. So the current company that I'm with is the only national medical company that supports doctors in spinal ligament testing, which is Spinal Kinetics. I developed and expanded a technology used by medical radiologists for spinal kinetics called CRMA, and that's the trademarked term of spinal kinetics. And I've trained more radiologists to use this type of procedure than anyone in the country today. I've delivered more webinars on spinal ligament injuries than anyone in the country. I've been doing it since 2005. I probably have delivered over 500 or 600 webinars on the topic. I've delivered attorney programs, insurance defense programs on this topic. I developed the first online doctor's training program specifically for spinal ligament injury specialists. Recently, I was on the board of, I'm still on the board of directors for Spine Injury Solutions. I was also the COO. Recently, I'm no longer the COO of that company, even though this slide says that. On the advisory board, and what I do is I still help this company. This company actually is producing some of the best video medical records technology. It's revolutionary what this company is doing as far as doing a video medical record. It's pretty hard to say that the patient didn't say this or the doctor didn't do this when it's all on video. I've been on the advisory board for the National Pain Foundation. I have a degree in law with special emphasis in personal injury. And there's really no one in the market today that has more experience training doctors to meet the needs of this new personal injury market. So, 2015, I published research that was involved with the evaluation of spinal ligament injuries using computerized X-ray interpretation, and to show that that's the only way that you can actually do it. In 2016, we published a paper that said, is a simple sprain from whiplash injury really that simple? Especially when the results are horrific today in the market, is it really that simple? And of course, we also published one that said spinal pain, maybe it's not on the patient's head. Now, this is all relevant, and what we're doing now, what we're looking to launch in February 2019, is the largest injury directory, patient consumer injury directory in the country. This is where people will go to find their local injury doctors or injury lawyers or injury imaging, anything that has to do with injury and getting great results and desiring great results. That's what this site will be for. This is like the health grades of injury providers, for lack of a better way to say it. In 2019 and in 2020, every one of you in the injury space, let's get that off. Every one of you in the injury space will be doing, let's see. Every one of you in the injury space, sorry about that, will be doing business with us. There's not anybody in the injury space that won't be doing business with us in one way or another. Now, that's not, I'm not trying to say that to say, wow, this is how big we are or anything else. I'm just saying that because that's the truth. That is the absolute truth of it. Now, what I want you to do on this program is I want you to watch this program to the end. I want you to watch it to the end because of the opportunity that's available to you. Now, some of you, I want to really get the idea. Some of you are maybe new to the injury market, or you're new in practice, or maybe you're even new thinking, do I really want to be in the injury recovery space? Is this where I want to be? I'm going to tell you 100% yes. I'm going to show you why. Some of you are running pretty thriving practices, but you're tired of the low reimbursement rates. You're tired of how much you have to work for a little bit of energy in return. The injury market is significantly different when it comes to this. And you already have, if you already have a thriving practice, for every 1,000 patients in your database, there's 110 injury incidents in that database. It's very easy to start to convert over slowly to an injury practice. Now, some of you have very busy injury practices. Right now, we have providers that are seeing 20 to 40 patients, 20 to 40 new injury patients a month. We also have in this program a provider that's seeing between 400 and 500 injury patients a month. So we have patients that are doctors that are seeing none that started out, or seeing one and they want to increase to 2 a month. We have a lot of different doctors that we've helped. Now, the injury market is huge. It's the largest producer of services in the healthcare market today. It's an $820.6 billion a year industry. That's 2013. And by the way, the U.S. national defense budget was less than $600 billion. So this dwarfs the U.S. defense budget in spending, just to give you an idea of how large the market is. In medical services, there's an estimated annual direct medical cost for all back-related conditions was $253 billion. For the doctors of the chiropractic that are on the webinar today, the whole of the chiropractic profession was only $14 billion for a year. So medical, $253 billion, $14 billion. Now, injuries produce over 252,000 medical visits a day. So it's not hard to start to take in some of this space. It's not hard to capture a little bit in your local market. It's really not. A lot of doctors will look and say, well, that 253 billion that I just put up, those are for medical things. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not. They're for things that are right in your wheelhouse. The largest percentage of injuries in the US right now are in your wheelhouse because they're sprain strains. And the largest area of sprain strain problem is the lower back and the neck. They're right in your wheelhouse. Right now, low back injuries to the ligaments, lumbar injuries, lumbar ligament injuries are the #1 physical cause of pain and disability in the world today. And there's not enough providers that understand this condition and how to effectively diagnose it and treat it. The neck is #3 in chronic pain and in disability. Now, here's the problem though. Patients go to these various providers, and if you look at the bottom, it says 9 out of 10 patients never know the primary cause. That is a problem in the market. And that's a problem that we help you to solve. And we help you solve it for the people in your community. I always get asked, well, Dr. Carr, you do a lot with injury work. I don't have an injury practice. I get that comment a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, each and every one of you has an injury practice. Everyone to some degree has an injury practice. So you look at these symptoms, these are the symptoms of spinal ligament injury. So you look at the symptoms. Diagnosis is you relate the symptom to the most easiest, most basic, and most logical cause. So in the market today, there are very few doctors that are getting down to the actual cause, where they're so confident that they have the actual cause of the patient's condition. There's very few, as I'll show you, right? So one of the things about an injury patient is an injury patient can generate the services of 5 regular patients. That's a lot of times why doctors want to get into injury work. You look and you say, well, these 5 people, I have to convince them that my services are right. I have to convince this guy that my services are right. What he needs to do for me is, or what he needs to do as far as a program goes, how he needs to stay compliant, how he's going to pay for it. And then I need to continuously keep him on track in order to get a result with him. And I need to do that 5 times for every 1 injury patient. But let's talk about, again, let's look a little bit about the fact that the average chiropractic salary right now, and I'm dealing with chiropractic, if you're a doctor of medicine or you're a doctor of osteopathy or you're a doctor of physical therapy, this isn't going to relate to you. But right now, if you look across the national average, that's the national average, 80K. Now, I don't know anybody who went to school for 8 years to make 80K. Now, you could be making, maybe you're making 100K, maybe you're making 120K, but what I'm saying is that That's where you're at, and you're doing a lot of work to get there. For every 100 regular new patients nationally, you generate an average of 120,000 in services. And you're going to compete with companies like The Joint, where they'll charge a person $69 and includes an exam fee and 4 adjustments for that month. And if they need any additional adjustments, it's $10 an adjustment. You are competing in that market. So for every 200 regular new patients, you generate an average of $240,000 in services. Now let's look at the injury market. The injury market, for every 200 regular new injury patients, you generate an average. This is national average. Could be different in your area, but a national average is $6,000 per injury patient, which is 1.2 million in services. Now let's not, remember that's less than 20 patients, less than 20 new injury patients a month. But let's notch it down. Let's say that you're doing less than 10 new injury patients. Let's notch it down and say you're doing 10 new injury patients. That's 600,000 in services. Right? Now let's notch it down even more. Let's just say that you're going to treat 2 injury patients a month. That's 24 patients in a year. That's an additional $144,000. Or you'd have to do the same by treating 120 other new patients. That's what draws doctors into the injury market. That's one of the things. The main thing that has to draw you into the injury market is a passion to help people. That's the biggest thing that has to go on there. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, I'm going to ask you a question right now. If I could guarantee that you could train your staff to do just that, to bring in 2 new injury patients a month, how much would you pay me to teach you to do that? How much would you pay me? Right? Would you pay me $10,000? Now I'm going to ask that question. Go ahead and just put in the question box. Would you pay me $10,000 to do that? So you have a little question box right over on the side. And I just want you to type in the question box. Would you pay? Maybe, maybe, yes, 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 not sure. Okay, good answers, doctors. So here's what I'm gonna tell you. If I charged you $10,000 to show you how to do that, and you did that for the next 10 years, how much did you make off of that $10,000 investment? It would have been $1,400,000 in services that you would have learned to bring in off a $10,000 investment. My God, would that be worth it? Of course it would be worth it. Should you be willing to pay that? Of course you should. Of course you should. And it's small think not to. Now, the injury market, one of the nice things about it is that it has much higher reimbursement rates. There's no question about it. Much higher reimbursement rates. That's why there's so much noise in the market. That's why everybody has been after it in the market. So the other thing that's really nice with the injury market is there's no patient finances to discuss, right? The only thing, there's no insurance limitations on your care. There really isn't. The nice thing about an injury patient was the injury patient comes in, you can do anything you want to, provided that you get great results. If you get great results, you are left alone. You can do whatever you want to. And when you can do whatever you want to, you don't have to resell a program to a patient. The patient's not dealing with finances, so they can stay right on your schedule. They can stay in compliance with what you're saying, and they can get great results. And with great results, they will refer. And they'll tell people. And if you know how to actually talk to them about what they're experiencing in your clinic, they will start to refer you other types of patients. These can be the most lucrative patients in your clinic, both short-term and long-term. Now, the 3 sources of referrals can come from them as satisfied patients and what they'll be talking to in both injury and non-injury patients. You can get medical doctor referrals by going out and talking to medical doctors about what you do and what makes you unique in the market. And it's not, we're the best, we're the greatest, we get the best results. That's not going to sell you anything with medical doctor referrals, nor will it do anything to get you attorney referrals. But there's ways to do that. I'm going to tell you there's another actual thing that's occurring in the market, and this is the thing I'm most excited about, is injury providers that really understand injury services will be in position for one of the largest surges that's happening in the market today in the injury market. You got to remember, companies can't afford injuries anymore. They really can't. So what they're going to is they're going to on-site health centers. And on-site health centers, this just says, as one of America's leading healthcare staffing agencies in the U.S., it's no surprise that CHG prioritizes own workers' health. CHG's on-site health centers are open to employees and their families for primary or acute care, including lab work. The office visits are free, regardless of if the employee is enrolled in the medical plan or not. It's free. That's what employers are going to. This is written in 2018. A lot of pain and frustration when employees get injured. That's why, to help curb the rising costs of healthcare and lost productivity tied to work injuries, many employers are implementing on-site health centers. Now, how do you get out of obscurity? Remember, your problem is obscurity. How does anybody know you're there? How does an employer know you're there? How does anybody know you're there? Your problem is obscurity, right? Now, the other opportunity is, guess what? This is a large nut. And hospitals and medical providers do not want to lose market share, so they are starting to incorporate chiropractic services either as outpatient centers affiliated with their health system or internally within hospital privileges. Now, if you got a chance to be on board with the hospital and be one of their outpatient treatment facilities, what are you going to present to them that makes you unique from the other 60 or 70 or 2,000 chiropractors that are in your local area? What is it going to be? Because that's where the opportunity is. And what I'm going to tell you is these next three quotes really sum it up. Success is where preparation and opportunity meet. You have to prepare. Opportunities are like sunrises. If you wait too long, you miss them. That's totally the case. And in the world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that's guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. Totally true. So I said there's four things. So let's talk about those four things. The first thing is you got to accurately diagnose the patient's injuries. Now, a lot of providers will say, oh, I already accurately diagnosed the patient's injuries. I'm going to tell you that is so rarely occurring in the market today, and I'm going to prove it to you. You have to accurately, especially when it comes to spinal ligament injuries. This is William Morris. He's the top researcher in the world for intersegmental pressures. He wrote the most definitive book on low back injuries for the workers' compensation industry. It's one of the best books in the market today. Some of you have probably never heard of it. In that book, he says it's been estimated that a precise diagnosis is unknown in 80 to 90% of disabling low back disabilities, emphasizing the need for more quantitative measures. He also goes on in the same book, that's the book, The Working Back Systems View. However, over 85% of low back disabilities do not have a pathoanatomic diagnosis. That means they're working with doctors that don't actually have, they don't know what the problem is. Hence, most traditional imaging is of minimal benefit for identifying spine mechanical problems due to the mismatch of the spine loading with spine tolerance. Now, all he's saying is, look, there's a heck of a lot of technology out here that doctors are using, and it doesn't seem to produce anything. Now, we can go on, and I could show you 40 citations of this. So I'll just show you one more. General medical doctors have a very difficult time with this. So let's take a look at their return to work guidelines, and we'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the American Family Physicians. This is non-specific low back pain and return to work. By the way, a non-specific low back pain, the definition for that is there's a mechanical problem with the low back, but we don't know specifically what it is. And so what these providers will actually say is the cause of low back pain cannot be clearly identified in 90% of the patients. How many doctors? 90%. Now, it's the same in neck. It's exactly the same. There's no difference. So they say some physical demands, including manual lifting, bending, twisting, and the whole body vibration, are associated with increased likelihood of back pain. All right. It should be noted, though, that the association is not equivalent to causation. However, there's strong evidence that personal and occupational psychosocial variables play a more important role than the underlying spinal pathology or the physical demands of the job. So what they're saying here is we don't know what the underlying spinal pathology or the physical thing is, but we think it's that these psychosocial variables are more important than that since we can't find that. Okay, serious. I could spend 5 hours showing you place after place after place after place after place on the internet where these things are. In the market, there's very general diagnostics. It's rampant in chiropractic. A doctor of chiropractic will say, well, the patient has a cervical sprain. Well, that'd be like if a person had a leg injury and you just said, well, they have a leg sprain or they have a lower extremity sprain. Of course, the first thing you're going to want to know is, well, where is it and how bad is it? What joints are involved? I mean, the spine has a lot of joints. So today, it's very easy to do stress radiology to get exactly what the excessive motion patterns are to determine the location and the severity of the ligament injury so that you can quickly identify the worst cases of ligament damage and exactly where they are very, very quickly. Those things line up with what you're seeing as far as the symptoms go, and they also line up with what you're going to see as far as disc herniations. And it's very easy to teach doctors this today. And the stuff that I'm teaching today, the majority of doctors have never seen. And the problem is with this patient right here that has a disc herniation and severe excessive motion at and above the level, the biggest problem that this patient has is working with a doctor that doesn't know that they have it. That's the biggest problem they have. Now, it's really easy to take those imaging findings, clinically correlate them to your examination findings, and you'll see that they correlate with what the consensus says is the cause now of their symptom. Very, very simple to do. And when you're working with consensus, you're working with objectivity. And when you're working with objectivity, all the problems in the injury market really, really fade. They get a lot softer and a lot less loud. So you got to accurately diagnose the patient's injuries. Number two, you have to quickly and effectively treat the injuries to a superior result. If you can do that, you're the most sought after provider in the market today. Big industry is looking for you like mad, if you can do it, right? So we know that accurate diagnosis always leads to better treatment outcomes. It doesn't matter if you're looking at cancer, if you're looking at any kind of internal condition. If the doctor doesn't fully understand what's there, you're not going to get great treatment results, not as good as you could. So employers right now, 42,000 an average per medically consulted injury. Back and neck are the two top injury areas. So if you can get great results with this, you seriously solve a problem in the market. Calculators today place a back injury for employers at 50 grand. The total cost of, if it goes into 3 years, can exceed $275,000. Now, for a lot of you, you're going, oh my God, I can treat that for a lot less. Yes, but you're obscure in the market. You are obscure in the market. I believe you can too. If you're going to become unobscure, you must understand completely how your spinal adjustments and your accessory care stabilizes and reduces spinal instability. So you got to know that, you got to know it cold, and you got to know how to explain it easily, because that's what's going to get you excellent outcomes. And excellent outcomes are what get you excellent referrals. So you got to accurately diagnose the injuries, you have to quickly and effectively treat the injuries, and then you got to do the third thing. You got to document in a way that allows the patient to get any and all benefits that they may be entitled to. And again, it sounds easy, but it's not being done today. You know, today, let's take in the auto injury market, there's the idea of, well, there's no damage to the car, so there's no injury. In this image right here, there's no damage to the car. But would anybody say there's no injury to the patient? No. Well, why do they say it when a patient's in the car and they receive neck injuries? Because the neck injuries are internal, and the majority of doctors that are dealing with the neck injury or the low back injury patient don't know what they look like. So they haven't imaged them so that they can show them. That's a problem. And that's a problem that when you understand how to diagnose these, your documentation is starting to get stellar. Now, there's a lot of people out there talk about Colossus, talk about insurance documentation. Insurance documentation is logical. It's simple. So I'm going to show you the basics of everything you need to know in 12 seconds. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm not even going to start the 12 seconds because what I'm going to tell you is this is a short video. These are the 5 things that you have to have documented. Now, these 5 things interrelate to each other in a very specific way. So this is not even a factor in a claim unless you have these other things involved. Now, what you're going to see in this 12 seconds is you're going to see a finger go away and that thing. So the 5th most important thing will go away first. Then the 4th most important thing, then the 3rd most important thing, then the 2nd, and then the 1st. So you'll see what's the most important and how they line up. Here it goes, 12 seconds. Okay, watch it again. Here you go. Now, that's what a smart injury doctor can do. They can actually document this. Now, to make it really, really simple, we created a form that said, oh, wow, doctor, get all your diagnostic codes, get all your injuries coded, put them in here, put the number of dates that you treated, note any ligament damage that you've had, put the last date of any of these things that the insurance industry considers to be very important in their documentation, and the last date noted of any other symptom that the patient may have. Include an impairment rating if you have it, if they have one and they have something that's rateable. Duties under duress and loss of enjoyment of life factors, include them. And if you have duties under duress and loss of enjoyment of life factors with an impairment, include what your future care might be and what it would include and what the expected costs are. Sign it, date it, and you're done. It's the easiest thing in the world. The more you complicate this process, that's all you're doing is you're just complicating it. And who wants to work with somebody that's complicated? You want to work with simplicity, and everyone wants to work with simplicity. So the less complicated you are, the better you are. This is just a testimonial. Dr. Cronk, first of all, let me say, wow. They say you don't know what you don't know, and I did not realize just how much I did not know. I've been a member for about 9 months and began seeing a return on my investment almost immediately. Our office started seeing more unrepresented third-party PI claims settled for full billed amount. As I continue to learn this information and the process of working up PI cases, I'm becoming increasingly confident in our ability to become the PI experts in our area. What I've learned is not only helping with PI cases, but also with health insurance cases and claims as well. We're looking forward to the continued growth and expansion. Okay, what is this doctor saying? He's saying, hey, by doing this stuff, insurance companies are paying me in full. I don't need an attorney to protect my bill. Whoa. For those of you that are already billing and taking 50% reductions, 40% reductions, how much would it make you if you didn't have to take the 40% reduction? Right? What he also said is, this is getting me to understand health insurance claims better. Wow. So here's another one. Dr. Cronk, we spoke earlier this year about coming to Texas to speak in 2019. What are your speaker fees and requests for speaking to groups? We have 2 dates available in Austin and 1 in Dallas. Let me know if either of those 2 works. And starting to your program with my PI documentation has increased tremendously. I recently settled a case of husband and wife, both had CMAs done, that's ligament tests, and got their full bills paid with no attorney. That was a total of almost $13K. It was the first time I'm not dealing with an attorney that the insurance company didn't balk at my bill. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, a balk at the bill could be a 50% reduction. So, you know, that little, what he learned on those 2 patients potentially made him an extra $6,500, $3,500. Now, once he learns it, Does he know it for the rest of his career? Of course he does. That's the beauty of this. That's the absolute beauty of this. Now, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's say that you're doing 200 regular new injury patients a year, and you're generating 1.2 million, but you're taking a 40% reduction. IMEs, utilization reviews, attorneys calling you up to say, hey, I need to take reductions, right? Well, 40%, that's 480,000 a year. So what if we cut that in half? Well, in that case, you just picked up an extra 240,000 bucks. That's just found money for you. Now, if you're doing it for that year, you're going to do it for the next 10 years, 20 years? Of course, because you're going to understand the basics and the foundation by which all of this stuff is paid for in the first place. Now, how about for you that say, hey, I'm going to do less than 10 for every 100? You do 600,000 and 40% reductions, which is really common in the market. 50% reductions are more common right now. It's 240,000 loss in just reductions. If you cut that in half, I'm going to tell you that you can cut it off. But if you just cut it in half, you're picking up an extra 120,000 bucks. For those of you that just want to treat, get out of the box for just what your staff could pull in. 24 new injury patients a year, 2 a month. You're taking 57,000 in reductions. Right, so if we cut that in half, I don't know what half of 57 is, 20, whatever it is, 25 plus. You may, just by understanding how to document. Remember, the pitch up here is a guy fishing in the sunset, right? So what we teach you is we teach you how to do this, so that basically you know it forever. So you keep reaping the benefits of it over and over and over and over. I tell injury providers that really good injury work for a sole practitioner should be able to, in your career, increase your earnings by maybe $4 or $5 million for your lifetime. For some of you, dramatically more. For some of you, maybe it's an extra 500,000. Well, so what? It's additional money. Now, some patients are going to require interprofessional help. You know, what if you had instant help for these patients? So some doctors have learned from providers that they got to have what's called a medical doctor validation. A medical doctor has to validate the care that they got from the patient, and they have to validate the impairment level, and they have to validate all of this. Well, what if you had that one-page form and you set up a referral for the patient, you sent the document over to the orthopedist, and the orthopedist had the patient schedule in the privacy of their own home a consultation with the orthopedist? Let me show you how that would work.
Can you imagine a world where the best local, regional, and national physicians are accessible to all patients? How about a world where patients without access to healthcare obtain the best medical expertise? OrthoLab is the world's first orthopedic telehealth provider. At OrthoLab, we have a vision for the future of healthcare, which at its core is affordable, efficient, and responsive. OrthoLab essentially means that you can get any orthopedic question answered immediately in a live video feed with the provider. And that's really what it's all about. We want instantaneous access and the ability to contact us at any point in time regarding any injury that somebody might have. You can't beat the convenience of OrthoLab. See your provider anywhere and anytime.
Okay, that would be pretty cool, right? That would be pretty cool to actually have that. Well, that's the future. That's the future of healthcare. That's the future that the doctors that are jump in and understand that they have to continue to educate themselves and grow with the changing market. And this market is changing a lot. And it brings me to the fourth thing that you need to be able to do. You need to be able to market. You need to be able to get out of obscurity. And the only way that you do that is through marketing, and marketing is an activity or set of institutions and process of creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. And today, marketing is so inexpensive to do. It's free. You can post to these social media sites and it's 100% free. Now, doctors today are basically, this came out, Chiro Economics for 2017. They said, look, the average typical chiropractor now is collecting $443 or $443,000 on an average of how many patients? 7.4 patients, right? So over, what is that? Over 350 patients a year, new patients a year, right in line with the numbers that I quoted for you, right? Now, they're spending an average of $15,000. I'm going to tell you right now, that is so low. That's 3.5% of collections. Most business that want to stay in business are spending a minimum of 10% or $44,000. Now, I'm not saying that you have to spend that much, because in our program, we show you a lot of ways to do it for free. But what I am going to tell you is the injury market is the most lucrative market. It has the highest return on investment for your marketing dollars once you understand how to market and you understand what's working for you. Then you pour the coals to that program. Because remember, for every one injury patient, it's like 5 other patients. So I'm going to tell you, for every 1,000 patients in your database, there's 110 injury incidents every year. So if you're not marketing and positioning yourself back to the people that have already done business with you, you're making a big error. That's a big error to make. Now, when you go out to returnees, well, what are you marketing to them? Well, you should be marketing that they're going to get faster, more effective settlement processes with less effort. That's the benefit that you're going to bring to them. How about medical doctors? Well, you're going to quickly handle their problem patients. Their low back pain, neck pain, headache pain, those are their problem patients. You can quickly handle them. Now, remember what I said, what if I could help you get the largest untapped marketing machine trained so you can pull in 2 new injury patients a month? That's your staff, right? Your staff, that's $144,000 a year just in your staff. What should you be doing? If your staff could do that for you, should you give them a vacation? Absolutely. Should you have bonuses for them? Absolutely. Should you have things that are fun for them in your clinic so it makes it purpose-driven for them? Yes, absolutely. So what I want to do now is I want to show you. I've showed you the market. I've showed you the 4 things that you need to do. Now I want to show you how we put it together into a program and how it can help you do everything you need to do in order to be successful in today's spinal soft tissue injury market. So first of all, I set up a doctor's training program. That's a training program for the doctor themselves. And so what we get started with is let's get started. In the let's get started area, one of the things we have you do is join the Facebook group of like-minded providers. Now, just this month, we have an attorney in that group that actually posted, hey, I'm looking for somebody in the Riverside, California area. I got a couple new clients. Good. This attorney wants to send to one of those doctors $6,000 worth of care, worth of patients. We have another doctor who had a question. Hey, Dr. Croft is teaching something, regarding 3.5 millimeter translation. It only needs to be focused in one direction, which is true under Panjabi's work. But we had another member say, well, it's not true under the AMA guides, and gives you the exact citation of where it says what it says. And that's the beauty of the group. You become part of a like-minded group. Now, you also get the Smart Injury Ligament Injury Expert course. And in that course, all videos, you get a welcome, you get an opening background, you get how large the market is once you know this. Once you understand what I'm teaching you, you will never look at the market and go, I am struggling to see where I can find new patients. You can't go anywhere in a day without finding them. They're everywhere once you understand what you're looking at. So it goes into, why the chiropractic profession stays small, mechanism of injury. It goes over the background information of everything that you need to know in order to be able to accurately diagnose these, better manage the patient with them, and to handle any other thing that's involved with care of these injuries. the law of pre-existing conditions, impairment rating basics, impairment rating basics with the AMA 6th edition, documentation for today's insurance industry, medical doctor validations, understanding them. Then we have a final course conclusion and certification to check to make sure that you really can apply what you say, what you say you've learned. Now, we also have an injury library. In that injury library, there is more videos on injury and all aspects of spinal ligament injuries. There's not a repository in here anywhere in the country that's larger. We have videos on impairment ratings. These are short videos, videos on guidelines, different guidelines. What guidelines should you be doing? Why should you be stating what guidelines you're using in your documentation? How does that reduce down your independent medical examination problems and utilization review problems? We go over classics basics. We go over research. Everything that I say in the videos, the research document is in the research area. We go over, chiropractic adjustments and effects on mechanoreceptors, chiropractic adjustments and wrists, forces in the spinal, high velocity, low amplitude adjustments. We go into all kinds of research, and they're all there for you. All these papers are there for you. Now, if you think, wow, that's overwhelming, that's kind of overwhelming. Well, there's a search. You can search at any time. You put in the search term spinal instability, and you hit search, and everything comes up that we listed about spinal instability. Same on other topics, right? Now, we looked and we said, okay, I do a lot of webinars, I do seminars, I do a lot of different things. All of our webinars, particularly that I do, every single webinar that I do anywhere at any time is recorded and uploaded into this section. So you have updates all the time. Anything that's updated in this program, you get noticed that there's an actual update in the program itself. Now, we could sell that course easily all day long for $39.97, and you will see it sold for that. And I'll show you why in the future. All right, next, we said, hey, we want to be able to help the doctor train his staff or her staff to actually be able to do this, to get injury patients in their door. And so what we did is I set up the first staff Smart Injury Doctors staff training program. And what the program is it's a program to assist you with training your staff. So how does it work? Well, you first start with the Smart Injury Staff training program. And that's where I go over and I train your staff on what's making your clinic unique. Next, we actually go, hey, I developed the Smart Injury Checklist and Staff Procedure Drilling section. Now, in this section, every single visit that is important to getting better patient results with the patient or getting more referrals from that patient, every single visit, I show exactly what you need to cover in that visit in a checklist, so you don't miss it. So you can train your staff. You can train your staff so everyone in the clinic knows exactly what's going on with that injury patient, because the more that they feel that, you will not believe the amount of referrals that you start to generate. 2 a month from your staff will seem like insignificant when you really get your staff involved. Training your staff in this area is the #1 place that you can spend your money, and it's so cheap, you're already paying them. Now, if you train them and you train them properly, the remuneration for you is significant. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that what we do is we actually take, this is like day 1. Day 1 is a very important day for an injury patient. There's a lot going on in day 1. This is probably the longest video in here. It's 12 minutes and 53 seconds. It goes over what you have to cover in day 1. Now, the checklists are there. Everything that I say you should give a patient is there. Everything is there, all in downloadable materials. So it makes it very easy to actually train your staff. Now, here's what this doctor said. Since beginning Dr. Cron's program, I've increased over 1 new PI case per week. That's over 1 per week. Let's just take 52. All right, that's 312,000 in services, doctors. Directly from using the materials and information to educate attorneys and patients. Attorneys are excited to learn that injuries leave a pattern. They're amazed at the exact location and severity of the injury can be determined and shown objectively. What are often called only soft tissue injuries are now able to be settled or litigated for the severity of the permanent ligament injury. Thank you. So again, how much would you really pay if I could actually teach you to do this? Because if you said $10,000, I'd say, yeah, that'd be a good price. That's not what it's going to cost you, because we could easily sell you this course for $19.97. Now, the other thing that I realize in the injury space is a lot of doctors get really good at diagnosing and treating. Their documentation starts to get good, but when they get into depositions or get in court, they fail. Now, it's not that they fail because they're not smart or sharp, but it's because they're too technical. And if you're going to trial, or you know, somebody's going to, when you do a deposition, if you go to trial, it's because you didn't do a good job in deposition. So a lot of doctors are very proud that they go to court a lot. Well, they go to court a lot because in deposition, the other attorney's saying, you know what, this guy's so technical, I don't understand a word he's saying, and neither will the jury. I mean, he enjoys what he's saying, he's very enthusiastic, he's passionate about what he's saying, but nobody understands it, so let's put him on the stand. Okay, so I developed a course that taught doctors how to be masters in depositions. And part of the ability to master depositions is to be simple. And so I have this course, it's a short course, 2 videos, 2 nights where I educated doctors. One was on the pitfalls of things you run into, and the second night was how do you apply the basics of what you've now learned in the course to deposition. In the last portion of that, I actually put an attorney question for the smart injury expert. So I have a document in there that shows you how you give it to the opposing, your plaintiff attorney, and these are the questions they ask you. That right there is worth the price of the whole course. Because here's the thing, doctors, you can build great referral sources from attorneys. You can have fantastic referral sources. Okay, but the problem is if you are bad in depositions, you are going to lose it. And if you are highly technical in depositions and you don't do well in court, you are going to have a problem. So I don't want you to have that. You know, if you're really good at what you do, I want you to be able to handle this medical legal aspect of things equally well. Right? So my question to you is, what is one good attorney referral relationship worth? I mean, remember, you know, when you prepare, all of a sudden things start to happen. And you can start to pull in, we have doctors that really start to pull in attorney relationships, and they take them from relationships that the attorney had with other doctors. It's really not that hard if you understand what it is that you bring a benefit to the attorney. And remember, your benefit to the attorneys is faster, more efficient settlement process with less work on their part. So this is what one doctor said. I had a great time testifying in court a few weeks back. I've spent 12 years getting battered and bruised by opposing attorneys when I was called in as an expert witness in auto accident cases. I was often made to feel like a second-class healthcare provider while explaining my care. Utilizing the spinal ligament injury assessment tools I've learned, I simply explained the mechanism of injuries the patients suffered. I gave the simple analogies that the jury understood completely, and I had a blast. I can't wait to go to trial again. Have a great week. Fantastic. These are the things that I love as a provider. Now, we can sell that small course for $9.97 all day long. So now let's talk about the fact that in addition to that, again, you're part of a free Facebook user group of like-minded individuals. So let's take a look. What is that whole thing? What would that whole package cost? If I were to put everything there, well, what does it cost? Well, the Smart Injury Doctors Training Program at $39.97, the Doctor's Staff Training at $19.97, Smart Injury Doctors Deposition at $9.97. Facebook user group is free. You got a total of $69.91, right? But that's not all. Okay, we needed one other component. And that one other component is we needed to get you out of obscurity. Once you can do those things, that's great. But how do you become less obscure in the market? Now, what I'm about to show you, none of it works unless you understand how to deliver the product. All right, I delivered and developed a Smart Injury Doctors marketing program. So what does it start with? It starts with a quick start program. What does a quick start program entail? It means you sign up for monthly coaching calls. It means every single month you're on a call with me for an hour, hour and a half, as long as it takes, whatever the group needs to talk about, I talk about in that monthly call. I also deliver monthly marketing materials every single month to you. Now, we have the internal marketing for the clinics. When you start to get into injury work, you have to start to position internally your clinic and start putting out information that lets patients know that you do injury work. You got a lot of patients that are running through your clinic. You have to set up things in your clinic to let them know that you're starting to change. You're becoming an injury provider. We have a monthly marketing program by month. What does that look like? Well, every single month you're on a call with me. The call is recorded and we deliver marketing materials. So what does that look like? Well, for the month of September, let's just look at that month, September of 2018, we did a call. These, there was more materials down below. These were the marketing materials that were downloadable that I was saying you should be using in that call. Now, those downloads, if you tried to actually make those downloads, you try to hire somebody to produce that, you're easily spending $1,000, probably closer to $2,000. That's in 1 month. Now, some months there's more of these materials, some months less. It just depends. But that's in a monthly call. So basically, if you have marketing people or you're the marketing person, you have marketing materials to market with. And they're all aligned with the message that you're already saying, which is what? I can accurately diagnose the condition. We're really good at treating it. And we document in a way that allows the patient access to any benefits they're entitled to. Wow, is that hard to say? What makes you unique in the market? We accurately diagnose the injuries. We're really effective at treating them. And we document in a way that allows the patient access to any benefits they may be entitled to. That's what you're saying. That's the product that you're delivering. Here's a video just on that 1 month. I just want to show you a video.
Did you know that back and neck injuries are some of the worst injuries you can get to your body? That's because in one way or another, your lower back and neck are involved with just about every other function in your body. These injuries are the most common physical reason for chronic pain and the inability to work or enjoy the normal activities of daily living. No one wants to spend the rest of their life complaining about their bad back or neck, or spending your life's earnings paying for expensive chronic pain care. If you have injured your back or neck, your first problem is finding a doctor that is good at quickly diagnosing the problem and getting the right care started right away. Your second biggest problem is not delaying getting to that doctor, because time really matters. Every day you wait or you are put on hold can increase your costs dramatically and seriously increase the risk that you will not obtain a full physical recovery. Don't delay and call our office today, as we are part of a group of dedicated smart injury doctors whose primary focus is on back and neck injuries. Call us now. Did you?
Good. So I believe, let's go, that we had about 8 of those videos, or no, 4 or 5 of those videos that month for you to put out. Right. So again, what would you spend? You're not going to produce those. You're not going to do that on your own. We do that for you. Right. Now, we also set up marketing for medical doctors. And in that, we actually introduce to you reports that you use to solicit medical doctors, and a spinal instability PowerPoint that takes less than 10 minutes to present to medical doctors on what makes you unique in the market. We also show you attorney marketing. And in the attorney marketing, again, we have a PowerPoint, 2 of them actually for you to use. We also have a book that we tell you to buy. That once you read it, you'd understand why you would want attorneys to read it as well, so that you can start to pull in attorney referrals. We also teach you direct patient education. Anyone in your clinic can be doing these talks out there for you with patient education on what makes you unique and why should people come to you when they're injured. We also have free reports to help you market, right? So this is an example of 3 of the reports. The 5 most common ways that spinal soft tissue injury doctors kill your clients' insurance benefits. Now, that's something that you would send out to an attorney to actually get them to understand what your documentation does for them. 3 biggest pitfalls with MRI and spinal ligament injury diagnosis. That's something for both your attorneys and for any medical doctors that you're soliciting. The 7 essentials to getting great recovery results and excellent legal help for any spinal ligament injuries. That's for your patients. That's communicating to them what makes you unique and why they should be sending anybody, why they should not send anybody to a doctor other than you. Now, we also have a special videos area, and that's where we post every single month. We create one special video that's just kind of a unique video. And again, you can post these to your social media. What we have in there, you could start posting every day. We have stuff for you to post to your social media accounts every single day in here. Now, we could sell this as a course for $49.97, or we could charge $400 a month for it. So let me show you one testimonial. I like this. Kind of explains the program. So of course, I always thank the doctors for their referrals on that. So again, let's look at this. Here's the cost of the program, right? The total now, adding the marketing package, the value of it is $11,988. Okay. Average injury patients, 6,000 across the country. You need 2 of them to actually get this paid off. That's the return on investment. Now, I'm going to show you the Premier package first. And the Premier package is a new package that we have, which you get all of everything that I said, plus 1 year of monthly coaching, which is a $6,000 cost. So you get the entire program itself, plus monthly personal coaching with me for a one-time fee of $7,147. Now I'm going to tell you in 4 months from now, that price will be double. It'll be around $14,000 for the same package. Now, this is all the marketing materials for life. $7,147. Now, I also created a standard package where we said, okay, take out the monthly coaching from me. And you have a one-time fee of $14.97, which you pay for the top, what you're seeing up on the top. That's for the Smart Injury Doctors program, the staff training program, and the deposition mastery program. You get that free upgrades for life. You pay one fee, you don't ever have to pay another fee again. and then you get another fee charged that you're going to pay for. That's $97 a month for the marketing materials. Not $400 a month, $97 a month. Now, what I'm going to tell you is the injury market today is like Bitcoin was in 2016. It's a actual time bomb of opportunity, and you got to be prepared for it. Just like if I looked and said, if I offered you Bitcoin in January of 2016 for $386, you would go, I don't know. Right now, you would go, oh my God, I should have took the provider up on Bitcoin, right? For those of us that bought Bitcoin, beautiful, right? For those of us that didn't, oh my God, missed an opportunity. I'm telling you, injury market is like that right now. It's totally like that right now. All right. The one-on-one coaching package in 2019 will double or triple, as will the total program. But here's the beautiful thing about it, right? It's going to double because of what I'm going to show you at the end, why it's going to double. But everything that you do now, if you're in it now, as we're doubling it and as we're making it bigger and better and more dramatic, you get everything because you got the free upgrades. You get everything, right? So I made it even better. I said, okay, some doctors, well, gosh, you know, you're not going to want to write a check for $14.97. Fine, you can start for $4.97. Sorry, it's $4.99. That's a typo. $4.99 plus $97 recurring. Now, how do you do all this? Well, you go to smartinjurycenters.com, right? You click on it, you go out to the site, smartinjurycenters.com. You either hit a one-time payment of $14.97, you hit 3 easy payments of $4.99, or you go pro with the personal mentoring from me for $74.97. That's how you do it. So you go to smartinjurycenters.com. Right here, Smart Injury Centers. I can't put the link in on your webinar. You go to smartinjurycenters.com. That's where you go. Now, I really like bonuses, so I'm going to give you one more bonus. And this is over the top. This is totally over the top. I sell a program now for smart injury lawyers that trains smart injury lawyers what they need. And what do they need? They need to find a smart injury doctor. We retail that course right now for $29.97. All right, I'm going to give you 2 of those if you buy today. I'm going to give you 2. I don't care if you spend $499, you spend $14.97, or you spend $74.97. I don't care. You're going to get 2 of these if you do it today. Now, what's going to happen is in about 31 days, you buy today. In 31 days, you're going to get a video, and you're going to get links to how you would invite an attorney to actually do this program for you. This can jumpstart you significantly as far as relationships with an attorney. And you will never see this. Once we start, and I'll show you why, you're not going to see this again, right? Because you got to remember, for what you're paying, the $14.97 plus the $97 a month, if you got just 2 injury patients a month out of this program, you're at a 5,300% return on your investment. Okay, this is off the charts. If you get 100% return on investment, you mortgage your house. If you were guaranteed 100% return on investment, you mortgage your house and put everything you could into that financial vehicle. I'm going to tell you that your lifetime earnings as a doctor are limited only by the investments that you make in yourself, and right now is the time to invest. And it's an investment. It's not an expense. It's an investment, and it's an investment that will continue to pay you time and time again. And it's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you get in there and you don't like it, hit refund. We don't want you. I don't want you in there. I need to create an army of doctors that can do what I'm saying that the market needs, because we're going to take those doctors out of obscurity in 2019. There's nothing better to invest in than you right now. Now, in 2019, you will see this program everywhere. You'll see me on Facebook. You'll see me in YouTube. You'll see me in Google. You'll see me in paid ads. You'll see me in your emails. You will see this program everywhere. And why will the program double? Well, because the people that will be selling it for me need to be paid commissions. And if they can make $1,400, if they can make $2,000 a commission, then I can get top salespeople selling it. If we triple it, they can make, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Then they're the ones that will sell it. And the only thing that I'm after are doctors that can do the program. So I'm after anything that efficiently gets us expanded. So right now, what you need to do is go to smartinjurycenters.com and purchase the program. You want to buy this program now. You want to get on it now. I'm telling you what you're going to see in the future with the site that we have called Smart Injury Help and this program. You're going to see this program a lot, and you're either going to do it now or you're going to do it later if you're going to be in the injury market. Later will cost you a lot more. It does not cost, it's so, I mean, at $497, I'm almost embarrassed to provide. I'm almost saying, you know what? Providers are not going to trust it because the price is too low. That's the opportunity you have to do today. So what I'm going to do now is take any question and answer. Doctors, I really want to tell you how much I appreciate the fact, I mean, you just sat through an hour and 11 minutes on your Saturday, and I really appreciate your time doing this. I so do. I'm so into helping and trying to do anything that I can to help you have a much easier time of this. So I really appreciate your time. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. You just type a question into the question box if you have any questions. If for some reason you needed to call me, here's what I'm going to say. If right now you're sitting there and you're going, wow, I don't know about spending $497, I'm going to tell you that you need to spend money into this program more than anyone does. More than anyone does. Because if right now $497 represents a large amount of money for you, there's a shift that you're going to need to make. And I can help you make that shift. There's a shift that you're going to need to make. And once you make it, it will change your life forever. It'll change your life forever. Because if you have that, oh God, on it, guess what? The people that you have in your clinic right now are doing the same thing, and they'll do it to you. That whatever you have, if you have money concerns, they'll have money concerns. If you don't have money concerns, they won't have money concerns. You'll pull in the patients that don't have the money concerns. So it's a shift, it's a change. And for some of you, I remember when I was there, it's hard sometimes, and it's hard to overcome. But what I'm telling you is overcome it. Go to smartinjurycenters.com and actually spend the money. Sign up today. Get advantage of having the 2 bonus smart injury lawyer programs that you can give the lawyers. Take advantage of that. You're not going to see that again. Okay. If we buy today, the lifetime of the course upgrades are free. So anytime that you put anything new in the course, it's free. That's correct. That's correct. About to put in a new video on translation findings on X-ray and disc herniation predictability. It's off the charts right now with the research on how predictable disc herniations are based on your X-ray findings. Off the charts. It's one of the most incredible. It has a 90%, 93% rate of being able to pick up the disc herniation, and 100% rate of being able to tell if there's not a finding, so there wouldn't be a disc herniation. It's incredible what's going on right now in this research in this area, and any doctors that are taking advantage of it, again, you're setting yourself up for the advantages of the opportunities that are going to be in the market. This doctor says, one of the biggest problems I have is getting the attorneys to understand what I do. I understand. That's why in the marketing package, that's why you have to buy the marketing package, because in the marketing package, we actually go over how to explain to the attorney. A lot of doctors go, they don't know the difference between features and benefits. So on your TV, your DPI is a feature. on your TV, the various things with your remote control are all features. The ability to, cast to something is a feature. Okay, the benefit is you actually have this really incredible, enjoyable experience with the TV set. Most people just want to know, they don't want to know all the features and all the feature lists, and the majority of doctors spend so much time marketing their features. We do this, we do that, we do this, we do that, we do this, we do that, and they don't market at all the benefits. What are the benefits? So if I'm in business with you, what's my benefit? So that's what we help you to do. Totally. And it's the same for medical doctors. It's the exact same. One medical doctor referral, one referring medical doctor can change your practice forever. Totally. But you got to know what to say. You got to know what is it that you're bringing that medical doctor. Totally. So, all right. What else? I'm just looking to see if we've got any other questions. Okay, yes, okay, doc, yes, it's $4.99. So it's you pay 3 payments of $4.99. And then you also would pay a $97 a month fee for the marketing. And you want to do both. I have doctors that actually go in and they just try to buy the doctor's training program right now with the deposition mastery and the smart injury doctors staff training, and then don't buy the marketing. It's a huge mistake. You miss the calls every single month. And right now, you're seriously going to miss what we're doing in the launch of the largest injury site in the country. So you want to get involved with that. You want to get involved with every one of my smart injury doctors in my program right now are going to have advantages that no other doctors have just by being in the program as we launch. They're going to have some advantages. And as I start to show what those advantages are, they can be quite dramatic, quite significant. Okay, doctors. I don't see any other calls. Or any other questions. What I'm going to say, and I appreciate, it looks like I did a good enough job that you understand what this program is. You start today, it's $4.97 or $14.97. For those of you that like to just pay, you don't like any kind of bills or anything else, just pay $14.97, and it's $97 a month for recurring. For those of you that maybe go, okay, I want to pay $4.97, and the 97. That's how you do it. Remember, you have all 3 options. You have the Pro, you have the $14.97, and break it up into 3 payments of. It's actually $4.99. I have a typo there. It's actually $4.99. So you go smartinjurycenters.com. Remember, it's 100% risk-free. If you don't like the program for some reason, you get into it, you don't like it, just email us and we'll refund you. I have no problem with that. I mean, I think I've had so few refunds in the years that I've been doing programs for doctors. But I don't care. I don't care if you want a refund. If you want a refund, I don't want a doctor in a program that feels like this isn't right for them. So there really is no risk to you. There's really no risk at all. So get in there, Smart Injury Centers. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your Saturday. Thank you.